Welcome to the LANCave where we're living as nerds. I'm Patrick, joined by Owen.
Hello.
And that video was messed up, but that was my fault. We're having all kinds of fun issues today. It's
Also
been
need
it's
to hit
been
record again.
it's been one of those days. I'm gonna hit record. It's been one of those days. It's been one of those weeks. You know, hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year. So
Yeah.
that's how it goes sometimes. But we're here talking gaming, talking video game news, nerd stuff, ramblings, all kinds of fun stuff. How you been? You doing okay?
Pretty
Yeah.
good, just another week in paradise, but looking to be a little bit more fun coming up, in Texas. The vaccines are popping, and so more friends are getting that. So, going out to dinner hopefully tomorrow.
Very cool.
With some with that actually John and Megan,
Yeah.
because they got theirs, and so and then the kids' birthdays here in June, so we're starting to kind of try and figure that out. And so I really can't complain. It's my wife's birthday yesterday, so happy late birthday
Happy
to
birthday,
her.
yeah.
We got to get out of the house.
That's cool. Yeah,
it's good stuff.
Feeling more comfortable. Like not that we've been living in fear, but it's like we're just being responsible, trying not to get sick, trying to get other people sick. You not trying to get the kids sick. Well, I hate when people are talking about that, like living in fear. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna be cognizant of other people and not try to get other people sick. I have a few of my friends who last year were like, it's not that big of a deal. I'm gonna go traveling. I'm gonna go partying. I'm going to do this. And then they got it and they gave it to somebody else. And that was my biggest thing. I was like, I didn't want to do that. Anyways, you hear enough about COVID elsewhere. You've been crushing some games lately. I did some Resident Evil weekend before last. I missed the demo this weekend. By like an hour.
Time demos are stupid.
It is completely stupid. So first of all, I went and looked it up and I misread it because I was just skimming it on my phone. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I had a really busy Saturday, so I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'll do it later because it started at like 7 or 8 p.m. on Saturday, and I missed the when the cutoff actually was. So when I logged in, it was like, yeah, you got a couple days to wait for the next round. I'm like, no, timed demos this was a timed demo within a timed demo because you have a window of opportunity to start it and then you have 30 minutes to play it and that's it, and that's just crazy.
Yeah, I just don't understand the point in that. I don't like, you're asking for server issues at that point if people are trying to like download or get in,
and this is a non-multiplayer game, so it's like you don't even have a need to like stress test a server like if it was an MMO or like a Destiny or something, right? You download it and then you just click the button to start it, and you get 30 minutes. I wish it was like a timed demo where you download it and then you get access to it whenever, and then you get like a 30-minute or hour or whatever it is. But yeah,
at that point, I'm just like, why are you even doing this demo? And really, honestly, I think it's for the hardcore, right? Like, was this an open demo for anybody who wanted, or was this for people who pre-ordered, or
anybody who wanted it? PlayStation get it first, then PC and Xbox and whatever. So it was PlayStation timed in regards to the demo. By the way, this actor, I haven't looked him up, but like straight up Vincent D'Onofrio impression. Like, I haven't looked it up. If it's D'Onofrio, like I wouldn't have been surprised. It sounded exactly like him. So I don't think D'Onofrio is going to do a Resident Evil game.
Yeah. But at least you've been getting some of it. Had you beaten Resident Evil 3 before, or were you just jumping into Resident Evil 3 because you were mad about not being able to play Resident Evil 8?
Bingo. I hadn't played the remake of 3. It's actually technically on my list of backlog games. But I was in a Resident Evil mood, and I'm like, I'm doing this right now. So I played some Resident Evil 3, which I really am liking. Resident Evil 3 takes place like at the same time / before / after Resident Evil 2. So I saw some people like commenting, which is cool to have people comment. Saw some people commenting. They're like, "Wait, this is from the same level from Resident Evil 2 recycled." I'm like, "Well, yes, and there's a reason for that. You're setting up events that happen in Resident Evil 2, so it's not like the whole game is a remake or a rehash or anything.
Yeah. Well, that's good that at least it's what we've been preaching all year is getting rid of that backlog while we can. Because I mean, games are we got Pokemon Snap coming on Friday.
I was gonna say day after tomorrow, man. You're on countdown.
It's starting to pop off. I don't even know what else. Like eventually, are you gonna play Returnal?
I'm probably going to play Returnal because it seems to be up my alley. It may be frustrating,
but hard.
Yeah,
I've heard it's really hard,
which just makes me really want to play it. I mean, even though I'm not great at the games, like the challenge, like I really
that comes out on Friday too.
Comes out on Friday, yeah, and then you've got 2 weeks or so until Mass Effect.
Yeah,
so I'm picking it up. I have to pick it up. I'm a huge Mass Effect fan. So
I'm gonna pick it up probably in November. Hopefully,
when it goes on
some
sale.
Kind of some Black Friday sale action is what I'm going for.
Probably should do that.
Just because I know I'm not going to play it right away.
I probably should do the same thing because I'm not going to probably play it right away. I've got so many things in the backlog. I've got games I'm enjoying.
I still have Immortals Phoenix Rising to play. I have Assassin's Creed Valhalla to play too, but I know I'm not going to get to that this year. But I do want to play Immortals this year. I even heard they had a DLC already. What else? I mean, in May, let's see, Mass Effect. Somewhere in there is Mario Golf, which I'll definitely be getting as well.
I want to say I want to say it's June.
Ratchet.
Yeah.
Ratchet's going to come out soon.
Yeah, June 25th for Mario Golf. Ratchet and Clank, I want to say is June as well. June or July. I pre-ordered that. I had to.
That's June 11th. So it's about to start getting busy. So knocking off the backlog is a good idea. I am continuing. So I have a playlist going on GG, the app that I use for game tracking games, called Taste of Vita. It's got 12 games on it right now. Just every time that I play a Vita game, I just kind of add it to the list of stuff. So this week I was playing Super Stardust Delta.
Yeah.
Which is also by Housemarque, same people who are making Returnal, the great twin-stick shooter developer until they went to Returnal here. So that's why you're going to have to tell me how Returnal is, because this is, if you've played any of Housemarque's stuff before, we're talking Resogun, Super Stardust, Dead Nation, Alien Nation, like all these twin-stick games, and this is their first like big foray into the AAA space. So cool for them. But I've been playing Super Stardust. I actually beat that last night. Just beat the arcade. So there's a million different modes. But
how's the gyroscopic bit of that? Is it annoying? Because like,
honestly, you don't have to play that way. It's so you move around with your stick, and so you don't have to move around gyro. The gyro in the Vita is only so there is a mode, and that's actually what I was playing while Patrick was setting up a stream, where you do just use the gyros to move and then use your twin sticks to shoot. I just played the regular arcade mode, which was just one stick is one thing and one stick is moving, but super tight gameplay, great soundtrack. It's one of those things where it's just they had a niche for a while, and they nailed it. So that game's on Vita. I think now that the Vita store is staying open, you have plenty of time. But I think I paid like $10 for it.
Not bad.
And it's one of the few games that I've bought this year.
Yeah.
Although there's a big spring sale going on right now. I might end up with a couple more PlayStation games.
It's hurting my wallet.
On payday. I have Valkyria Chronicles 4 in the cart, even though I own that physically. I could just kind of want it digitally, so I could just have it sitting there because I'm dumb like that. And then I have Hotline Miami because that's crossplay with Vita. It's only $250. So I'm gonna pick that up on Friday when I get paid.
Hotline,
as well.
Yeah, $250. It's totally worth it for Hotline Miami. I could have sworn that we got that for PS Plus at some point because I have it on my Vita. Totally worth it. There's a lot of these games that I may not go play. If I feel like some games work fine on the Vita and I don't need to bring them elsewhere, Like you can play Binding of Isaac on the PS3, PS4, whatever. I can play it on Vita. It's fine. I play it on Switch. I actually think it works pretty well there because it's a nice short stint thing. Yeah, any of the Vita stuff, honestly, anything that's gyroscopic or the back buttons, I don't like it. Like unless it's a really brief like tap on the back. Like trying.
Do you have a handle for your Vita? Do you have a grip?
I don't.
I need one.
So
I need a grip. Robert, find me a grip.
is if I was gonna say if the grip, I mean the Vita isn't cramping my hands or anything, but I feel like I have to like kind of do this number like and move my hands in like that instead of like holding like this, and that's weird, especially if I'm playing like obviously I don't have to do that now that I got my Kishi, my Razer Kishi. I don't have to do that, but I used to remote play or try to remote play with the Vita off my PS3 back in the day, PS4, whatever, which was okay. Now that I have the Kishi, I don't have to really resort to that. But anything that used R1 or R2 or an L2 was just terrible because you have to hit the back buttons, and it just didn't work.
So actually, and Robert said to check your audio. You sound a little low to him. And while you're talking about it, I did find this grip that I actually bought on. What's that website that like sells everything from Japan?
Play Asia.
Play Asia. So I found a grip on Play Asia that has this touch thing built into the back of it.
Yeah.
It's not a good daily driver grip for the Vita, and that's why I need a good grip for that. But it has this like rubber pad, so whenever you hit L2 and R2 on the grip, it'll push onto the touchpad onto the Vita. And so I got that off Play Asia. I think it was like $30 though. But if you want to be nerdy and go hardcore, you can get that grip. I bought it for remote play. Stupidly, because I just play remote play on my phone with my Backbone controller. But originally I was like, oh, I'm gonna play remote play on my Vita, and I did that one time and then never did it again. So I need a new just regular grip, because even though the Vita is, I still love the how light it is compared to the Switch, but it's just too small to really like comfortably wrap on those thumb pads, the sticks. What's a thumb pad? Or am I playing like a Steam controller? Like, what are we doing?
I was gonna say, what is? Yeah, no, I feel you. Like going back to the Vita, having played the Switch for a while, honestly, I hadn't played the Switch in quite a while. Been using the Razer Kishi. I hope vocals are better now. By the way, Robert, thanks for pointing that out. Going back to the Switch from playing the Kishi, the Switch is not as comfortable as the Razer Kishi. So if anyone is like curious about like how comfortable are these, if you're playing a Switch, this is better. I'm sure the Backbone's probably a little bit more ergonomic for an adult hand, I should say.
I think it's probably pretty similar.
Yeah.
And so with your Razer Kishi, did you have to take off the case?
No. So I didn't have to take off the case.
I don't know if you saw Robert complain about that a little bit. He's got his little clear case on there. And the Backbone really does not play well with that. And I was actually selling that to some people at work too, and they're like, "I just have the stock plastic shell." And it's like, yeah, sorry. I mean, my thing is, I did have a case on my phone up until about 6 months ago, and I got tired of it. I pay for sleek. I want to do it. I still dropped it. Like every time I drop it, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be the one. But so far, the 2020 glass is holding up.
I was gonna say, like, it's not as much of a problem as it used to be. My first smartphone, I think I broke the screen twice, and then my second one I at least broke it at least once, and it was in a case. Like my first smartphone wasn't in a case. Broke the glass, put it in a case, dropped it, broke the glass anyways. But you're right. The glass nowadays, it's probably fine. Yours is pretty water resistant. I haven't looked into the iPhone specs in quite a while, but I'm sure yours is water resistant. So we're pretty good on that. I thought you were going to go the Neil deGrasse Tyson route on
I don't
that.
drop my phone.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, because he brought that up, and I was like, yeah, he has an attitude as usual. I love the guy, but he does, he does have a bit of that
He's
aura
fine.
of him. I love him though, but like I totally got it when he was explaining it. He was like, I pay X amount of dollars for this. If I'm gonna like I don't want to that to even be an option. Like, I'm not going to drop my phone because I spent a ton of money on my phone. Why would I drop my phone? And I'm like, yeah, that's true. Where I'm pretty darn careless with mine at this point. I drop it in the parking lot, whatever.
That just tells me that he never wears leisure wear, right?
Oh
Like
yeah.
my
Oh
entire job is leisure wear, right? So the second that I sit down
yeah.
in my like
Mm-hmm.
basketball shorts or my joggers, or do you call them basketball shorts, by the way? Or do you call them gym shorts?
I call them. I just usually call them shorts. Sometimes gym shorts, but usually just shorts. I mean,
Because
it's a regional thing.
but whenever I think of shorts, I think of something with like a button or a zipper.
Oh really? Huh.
Yeah, because there's shorts.
I don't really
like,
differentiate.
but
I am actually wearing button like zippered shorts right now, but like
yeah, those are shorts.
but yeah, I usually it's interchangeable for me. It's just like if whether it's got a button or a drawstring or whatever, like they're shorts, and maybe I'll refer to them as gym shorts. Like if that's like
Okay.
that's the pair that I wear at the gym, and I'm not and I know if I wear it elsewhere, I'm gonna look weird. I wouldn't wear them to
So-
Lowe's.
Well, I mean, I'll wear anything anywhere. I mean, I've been working from home since 2012, man.
Yeah.
I'll wear anything anywhere. I DGAF. So
Yeah, I guess.
those are
Well, COVID
those are
too.
basketball shorts to
Okay.
me.
Okay.
And then like sweats are generally joggers.
Yeah. Okay. I call them sweats, but
So the second that I sit down,
Yeah.
the phone just it's instant.
Uh-huh.
Thank God that joggers. I don't know if you've noticed this. They started putting zippers on the pockets.
I've noticed
that's
that.
the game changer.
I've noticed that. I'm like, thank you, because like I wear shorts like around the house, but usually I don't usually have my my phone in my shorts around the house. I just have it around me. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll go in my pants if like I say pants a lot when it's just shorts or pants, whatever. But if I'm like walking around wearing my earpods, like I'll have it there because I don't want to lose Bluetooth connectivity. But yeah, other than that, like, I mean, I'll wear pajama pants or whatever. COVID has changed the game in that, because if I go out of the house and I'm wearing pajamas, nobody cares. And if I wore, and 2 years ago, anyone who's, and I mean loud pajamas. I'm not talking about just like, oh, they're just some like gray. I mean, I've got like Christmas pajamas I'll wear out to Target. Nobody cares. Nobody cares now. Because I think everybody's been in that mentality for a year. They're just like, who cares?
I just got the stylish one. Like I'm a big Adidas fan,
Okay.
as most people who know me know. Like all my sports, like athletic shoes, are Adidas. I'm wearing Adidas shorts right now.
Nice.
Half my joggers are Adidas.
Keeping it on brand, man. Keeping it on brand. Yeah.
I'm a brand loyal kind of guy. If nobody's ever known that about me, so I don't go out in pajama pants generally, but I also don't sleep in pajama. I live in Texas, so I sleep in like boxers, right? Like, there is no sleeping in pants whenever it gets to like, whenever like the low is like 85.
No. Even though you're cranking the AC, it's like, that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
That doesn't matter.
It's boxers and a sleep shirt. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
if that.
Yeah. I mean, I sometimes will wear pajama pants. Funny enough, actually, one of the ones that I was wearing the other day, like, because I'll wear pajama pants just like around the house.
Sure.
I bought pajamas. To then cut up and make pajamas for the dogs for my Christmas cards. I think you got those, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
So those were like, I literally went to Target. I bought those like $10 pajamas, and I put it on the dog. I pinned it. I pulled it off, and I sewed it so they would like be dog pajamas, because I couldn't find anything that worked the right way. There were leftover pajama pants. They're women's pajama pants. The only difference in that means I have no pockets.
Yeah.
But those are my pants now. Pockets. But at the same time, I'm like, pajama pants. Why do I need to wear that? Yeah, Robert got his. I'm glad you got it, man.
Because smartphones, man, you gotta have. I don't understand things that don't have pocket. I have a pair of pajama pants. They're like the Christmas ones with the ones that we did matching for I think our Christmas card. Actually, I think you got
I
that.
did,
Ours,
yeah.
those don't have pockets, and I'm like, what is this?
I mean,
Like,
no, and you're
who doesn't
exactly
have pockets? And
yeah.
then women everywhere are just like, well, welcome to our world,
Welcome, yeah.
SOBs.
Bring a bag with you, which both you and I do that anyways. So,
I do carry the man's bag, as Joey would call it.
Yep, we talk about that. I mean, mine's relatively masculine. I will say, I love the bag. The only thing I don't like about it is it has the symbol of the company that made it, which is fine on brand. But I don't like that they put the name on there because it's not as subtle. The company's name is Nutsack, and which of course funny because it's man bag nutsack, right?
Sure.
It's like it's a canvas. It's a good looking canvas brown man bag. That's the only thing I don't like is it's got this little acorn on it. It says that. So
I use Kavu, Kavu. They're like rope bags.
I'll check that out.
They're pretty nice. They're compact and stuff. They do stick out, but then again, I like to stick out. Say hi, Ivan.
Yeah, hi Ivan. It's our unofficial mascot.
Yeah.
I bring the dog in here, but he just trample everything. Well, as we segue back into actually talking about gaming, by the way, RTX cards went on sale today with Best Buy and sold out immediately. They're doing, well, I should say immediately. They do their queue. So, by the way, I got alerts. Shout out to Robert again. We were talking about like how do we keep in track of this? Now in stock is probably the best way to do that. They gave me a notification. Best Buy app didn't, even though I'm like supposed to be watching these. They have a queue where you hit the button and then it says please wait. I screenshotted it because I had multiple. I had it on my work PC. I had it on my personal PC. Trying to get it any way I can. 3070s, 3080s, 3060s, whatever it was, they get you in a queue, and then they let you through. I literally, as soon as it went yellow and said to add to proceed, I hit it. I hit the checkout. Just click, it's done. It's already done. So even though they're trying to stop the bots, it's still killing.
You can't stop the bots. Can't stop the bots.
With all that crypto, man. With all the crypto, it's just killing it.
Well, I mean, I think it's more than that these days. I think that, well, I mean, even when they talk about scalpers, when they talk about PS5 stock, like, people complain about it, but it's only like 10% of PS5s have been bought by scalpers. Yeah. So that, I think, is a pretty solid number. And while it still sucks for the people who can't get it, I think it's more like everybody is upgrading PCs. More and more people work at home now. More and more people stay at home now. I think that people have found, they need to make these machines. Tech, as everybody's quarterly earnings right now have come out, and we'll talk about PS5 a little bit, but Apple's quarterly earnings, not that I care about Apple in any way whatsoever, but Apple's quarterly earnings, they were like up 80% year over year. They blew out their quarterly earnings, and that's just like phones and Macs. That's stuff that you can't even upgrade in terms of the internals. You put more RAM in it, and you could put a bigger hard drive, but blew it out of the water. I think that we're just in this year where people have realized that they can't do much on their gateway laptop from 2008 anymore. I think people are kind of seeing that, and the race is on, or the game is afoot.
It's true. Even more so than normal, because I get it, and I know Robert gets it. I know you get it because we're geeks. Like, you get random friends or random relatives who are like, "Hey, I want to get a laptop. What do you think?" Like, or something, or they're like, "What do you think of this laptop?" I think it's like one or two people a week right now who are like, "Hey, I'm trying to upgrade my laptop." You're talking about that gateway. I've got a friend of mine, shout out to Chase, talking about like upgrading and actually getting a decent laptop to game on, and the one that he has no dedicated graphics card. Nice. He's got some Dell laptop. It's so pretty. He's got some Dell laptop that doesn't have it has the integrated graphics where it's just on board.
And you
can't do anything on. I mean,
did he buy one yet?
He hasn't yet. I send it.
Dude, this line, man. It's the Republic of Gamers, so the Asus, the Zephyrs, G14, G15, Zephyrus, or whatever it is.
What's the price point on that? because
12.
he's going for like best bang. Okay, so that's around what I was recommending things around there. He was thinking that was a little pricey, and I'm
Just
like,
wait for the gotta wait for the price drop, because this is actually like a 15 or 1600 computer depending on what hard drive you put into it. So I got lucky in a November price drop, so it was like during the Black Friday sale, but that dropped from $15.99 to $12.99. But we're talking, that's like a 2-pound computer with a 2080 in it.
Yeah, which is fantastic. I was going to say for gaming, for streaming, for whatever you want to do, that 2080 is going to be fantastic. The 2080 is better than this graphics card. The 2080 is better than the graphics card in the other room. I'm jelly, man. I'll be honest.
It's a mobile 28. So depending on what you're rocking, it might not
actually. No,
it's
16. I got a 1660 Super, and I think that's
okay.
On
so
par.
that's actually what it. Yeah, that's actually what it compares to. Is I don't know about the Super. I think it was compared to a 16.
Okay.
Either a 1660 or a 1680.
It's a solid.
I don't know enough about graphics cards, but for a laptop though, I was playing. I loaded up. I forget which FPS I tried last year, but it was playing at 60 frames, and so. That's all you need
for a laptop.
That's all I need.
For a laptop, I mean, I've got an okay laptop that I bought like 2 years prior. I bought it about around 3 years ago. It's okay, but yeah, yours stomps it. Tech is getting cheaper. I say cheaper relatively, cheaper compared to the power. It's doing it year after year at this, or not even year after year at this point. So it's just getting better. And
if it speaks to anything being sold, so that's where this lead. We're talking gaming PCs, but if you're still looking for a PS5, Sony has sold 7.8 million of them. By the way, shipped and sold. So they have shipped 7.8 million, and they have sold 7.8 million. They said every unit that they have shipped has been sold, which is outselling the PS4 to that point. And so when people are talking about like, it would be nice if we could get a PS5 right now, for the 5 people that have PS5s, lots of people have PS5s. That's a honking big number. And then just so we're not leaving them out, the series, both X and S, is somewhere around 6 million.
That's
so they're doing just fine.
That's respectable. I'm still in that PS5 group, by the way. I'm still in that toxic PS. It's not too toxic, but it's a little toxic. The PS5 group on Facebook that people are complaining constantly, or someone saying like, "Wow, Xbox is losing out this generation." Like, no, Xbox is
really not. They're banging, dude.
You cannot walk into Target or Best Buy or wherever and just pick up an Xbox. Someone was trying to say, "Oh, well, there were just Xbox Series S, not Series X, like on sale." I'm like, "Where?" And then they were like, "Oh, it was here." I'm like, "No, they thought it was at Walmart, but it's a Walmart reseller. You can go on Walmart's website, and they have resellers on Walmart." So they thought that meant that the Series S was just available. I'm like, no, someone marked that up like 20%, and you didn't catch it. So I think people don't think about how cheap that Series S is. I mean,
no, and honestly, the Series S is awesome. It's compact as well. But anybody who wants to take any kind of dump on Xbox, you can right now. I've put more gaming into my Xbox since launch than I have on my PS5. That's just me personally, but the value on the Game Pass has been doing it. But I see why PS5 is so popular. I think they're riding the PS4 wave, and then honestly, playing PS4 games on my PS5 has been nice. You're getting the best possible version generally of the PS4. We're still waiting for that Bloodborne patch, by the way. Sony, give me the 60 frames, even though I have no interest in playing it. I'm not going to play Bloodborne until they make it a 60 frame game. I'm getting really snobby about playing games.
If Owen wants Bloodborne, come on, that tells you something.
I'm getting really snobby about it. If the game is not running well, like that's one problem that I've had with Switch games, and it's one of the complaints I've actually seen about Pokemon Snap, is that it, in terms of it being like the 64 version and everything, it's great, it's awesome, but there's some noticeable frame dips in certain sections of the game, and that's where I'm like, we need that new Switch. Even if we don't get the Switch that is like 4K output and everything. I don't necessarily care about that. I want my frames to be there. But just so everybody knows, gaming's doing great in 2020. The fiscal year, I think, I want to say it was like $2 billion, something insane, some big gaming number.
I'm gonna guess that's a T on that instead, for gaming, because it's got to be bigger than it's been bigger than Hollywood for quite a while. I think you're talking about 2 trillion.
No, it's billions.
You said gaming?
Yeah, but let me see. Maybe it's not the first number, like 2. Maybe it's 200 billion.
Maybe something like that.
It's something insane though.
It's ridiculous.
It's something where they did beat movies yet again. Definitely with COVID, with all the movie theaters being shut down. I think where I saw with Sony specifically, since we talk about them a lot, Xbox hasn't given as many of their numbers, but they sold 338 million games last year. The previous year they sold 276, so a good 100, almost 100 million more games than fiscal 2019. Everybody is doing awesome.
And the reason Xbox has been cagey about their numbers, but honestly, Microsoft is wanting the subscriptions. Microsoft is wanting that. They want the adoption because it digs you into their ecosystem, and they know they'll keep that. And it's harder if they just gave you the number, it's harder to digest than Sony, because Sony's just going to give you the big number. Xbox's number is going to be smaller, or maybe they'll give you like the number of subscribers instead of the money, because they're going to play to their shareholders to show them how good they're doing. Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. So everybody's reporting earnings. That's why this is coming out right now. And Microsoft. So Microsoft, big stock, dividend stock. That's why I would like to own some Microsoft, but it's just a little too expensive for me to buy a share of. But in their earnings report, right, you know how whenever you're in a stockholder meeting, people ask questions.
Yeah.
There wasn't a single question asked about Xbox in their earnings report. That just tells you the type of company that Microsoft is, that they're spending tons and tons and tons of money. They're also bringing in tons and tons of money. Not that it's most 100% not bringing in as much as they're spending right now, but the fact that that's the case, they are definitely spending more than they're bringing in the Xbox division, and nobody cares in the Xbox shareholder, or I mean in the Microsoft shareholder meeting. Nobody cares.
Teams is making them so much money. I mean, in the past 20 years, Windows went from we make PCs and we're going to get into the gaming industry to we make games and we're going to make some money, but here's all this other stuff that we're doing. It's a weird trajectory, but yeah, Microsoft's making money. They're going to keep making money. That's a stock to grab when it dips. By the way, it did dip today. I mean, and by dip, I mean it went to $250 or something. So it's not like something you can, if you got like $1,000 you want to throw and grab 4 of them or something, then like you said, it gives you dividends.
I'm all about them dividends.
Companies like Apple, Microsoft, they're going to give you those dividends because they appreciate you staying in with them for the long haul. And those are companies that are going to keep going. They're not going to go under in 10 years. Microsoft's not going to go under in 10 years. Apple's not going to go under in 10 years. Where other companies you look at and you go, oh, there's a chance. You don't know.
Yeah, I was trying to see. So their stock's up 50% from the past year. Yeah. So that's one thing. I was trying to just see, and I know it's in there, I just haven't
It dipped this week.
Their content and services revenue. So Xbox content and services revenue increased 34% in the latest quarter. So that was the quarter that their consoles launched. Azure is up 50%, and Azure's where like they really make a ton of money. Then Teams is like the fastest selling thing ever. They went from so in a year, Teams usage went from 20 million to 145 million users, dude.
Yep. It's insane. So I know that goes into some of my work, by the way, because I'm digging into that. My company's been selling and working like in conjunction with it, and like 8 months ago, people were like, "Oh yeah, I guess we're it's okay. We integrate with it, whatever." And now everyone's like, "Wait a minute, how much is
We
it
have to
selling?"
integrate with
Like
it.
you have to at this point. Like it's not even a question. And that's again subscription model for their telephony is expensive, but you know what? People will pay for it. They get embedded and they stay on. So. Um, that's what Microsoft is banking on. The subscription model is it's not the future. That's how everything goes nowadays. If you don't sell something, you have people subscribe to it. Pro Tools is now a subscription, or has been
Yeah.
for a couple years or so. Back in the day, that was a 400 to 600, 800, whatever dollar piece of software plus your hardware you had to pay for, which is proprietary. Now it's like, okay, give me $40 a month or what, $30 a month or whatever it is. Still not cheap, but for that.
So unlike Microsoft, who has Teams and Azure and stuff, Sony actually does have to care a little bit. And I'm not saying that Microsoft doesn't care. Phil Spencer clearly cares. They have a great division going on. I can't sing their praises enough in the last year of what they're doing. So that's not what I mean. But Sony has to care. And so as a part of that earnings report, they did go ahead and come out and say that we understand what we got to do. We got to invest. So they're going to be throwing a lot of money in, and this kind of tails on to what we heard recently, where they want big blockbusters. So they're going to be putting a lot of money into their first party studios, which all their first party studios make AAA games. I think, with the exception of the people who made Dreams. So that's what Sony. God, who made Dreams?
I'll look it up. I can't remember.
So for the exception of like Dreams, everybody else, Bend, San Diego, Santa Monica, Naughty Dog, they all make Media Molecule. There we go. They all make AAA games. There is Tokyo Studios, but they've been downsized recently, so they're putting a lot of money into that. And then what we've seen from the last year is that they also are trying to lock down third-party exclusives. So we saw that with Final Fantasy 16. We know that they were trying to get Starfield before Bethesda got purchased by Microsoft. They're acknowledging the fact that this is a part of what makes PlayStation successful. But the thing that I want to know what you think about, though, is are they going to be smart and not forget about smaller games? Like, do you think that their focus is all AAA?
I would say that's what it sounded like. When they were talking about blockbuster games and everything, it really sounded like they were really pushing for AAA. I think it would be smart of them to, because Sony does have their kind of indies that they kind of buy into a little bit, or not buy into, but like they snag exclusivity on some of them. But I think that their concentration has been on first party games and on like AAA games. I think that this makes me feel like they're reevaluating. I think they tested, they felt that the wind in the air, what Xbox is doing, and realized we have to diversify. Sorry, we were talking about stocks earlier, but like it's like we can't put everything into ridiculous blockbuster games, because then if you invest say $200 million in a video game and it doesn't return enough, or in my opinion, I think Sony's more interested in this, can we make a sequel? Can we make DLC? Can we keep that churn, that money going? I think that they realized that. I think they realized they need to diversify. At least I hope that's what they're kind of feeling out here. The third party exclusives part made me happy. I'm tired of the timed exclusives, just like we're talking about timed demos. I'm tired of timed exclusives as well, because I don't feel like. I feel like that we all know that's just a contractual deal to have a game for 6 months and then it goes everywhere else.
Sure.
It doesn't mean anything. It's something that you grab the early adopters, but everyone else can just wait 6 months. It's not that big of a deal where you have actual console exclusivity. That is what drives console sales. That is what drives subscriptions into whatever. And from an Xbox standpoint, subscriptions to get to the Xbox, the Ultimate and everything, the reason that those have increased, the reason people are grabbing that Game Pass so quickly and so like so many people are grabbing it, is because you know you're going to get those games as part of the subscription. If Sony would do something like that, maybe not all their games on there, but they need to do something in regards to that, as well as diversifying the games that they put out. And
that's one thing I didn't really see them speak to.
Yeah.
I didn't see them really talk about, and I didn't dig everything into that report, but Jim Ryan had said at one point, and he's the CEO of PlayStation, that they are exploring their Game Pass ideas. I think that them keeping, like we mentioned, them keeping the store open is meaning like they're not
ready.
They don't know what to, they don't know what to do about backwards compatibility either. And so I think that's one reason that you're seeing PS3 and Vita stores stay open, is because they're like, well, people showed interest and we don't have anything for them, so let's do that. I don't know. I mean, I'm glad to hear that they recognize how important that is for them, because that is what they're going to have to do, because Game Pass is dope. I mean, I'm playing Outriders when I had zero interest in playing Outriders because it's on Game Pass. I'm playing the show, even though I planned on buying the show anyway, just because it was a Sony game on Xbox, but I didn't have to play. I didn't have to. I'm just playing the show on Xbox because it's part of Game Pass. I'm playing. There's like 4 other games, smaller games: Cyber Shadow, Slay the Spire, Haven. A lot of like AA and just indie type games on Game Pass day and date, and I have them on my Xbox, and I played them this year already.
The only drawback that I have in regards to Game Pass, in regards to, and I say the same thing when it comes to Netflix, when it comes to Hulu or anything like that. If that movie or that game or whatever is on that platform, you can put it in your list, like, okay, I'll play that later. They're gonna cycle off, or eventually they more than likely will cycle off. The Xbox has been doing that. Games fall off, games come on. That's how it works. Netflix has the same thing. Certain movies cycle off, or on. So don't be complacent is kind of what I'd say on that. Not to you, but to the general public.
Stay hungry.
Stay hungry. To all our listeners out there. If it's something you want to play it. And if it's something that you eventually want to play and you don't know if you want to play it yet, but you're happy it's on Game Pass, maybe purchase it, because if it's on Game Pass, there's usually a discount.
You do get a discount.
You get the discount. So do that. That way you make sure you have it, because I've had a couple that cycled off that I thought were on there, and then I go check on my Xbox. I try to launch it, and it's like, you don't own this game. I'm like, what do you mean I don't own the game? I downloaded it. Oh, it was Game Pass. It's deceptive because it stays on your hard drive and you can't launch
that's lame.
Yeah. So
that should be a thing where you just get a notice like, hey, this is no longer available. You can either purchase it or delete it.
Yeah, unless there was an icon. Maybe I missed that there was an icon. I don't think that there was.
I haven't paid attention.
I just hit that button and it was like, I don't know who pays attention. I got the game, it's downloaded, I scroll over to it and I hit the button. Because Game Pass, actually Xbox and PlayStation both do that if it's part of Game Pass or if it's part of PlayStation Plus or PS Now. Same thing. There's like a little icon that tells you, so that way you indicate like, oh, you can, if you have PlayStation Now, you can play this now. If not, you got to purchase it or whatever. But yeah, it's. I'm glad Sony's doing that, but we'll see how the future goes with Sony.
And as we know, here in the TheLanCave, being the adults that we are now, when we were kids, we didn't have the money to buy all those games that we wanted, and now we don't have the time to play all those games that we're buying. And so we have been specifically focusing on the backlog here in 2021. We're playing 12 games that we previously owned, 1 game per month, on top of a bunch of other games. I've actually mentioned, before the stream, I've actually played 35 games. I've not beaten 35 games. Yeah. I've played 35 games so far this year, so I'm playing more and more off my backlog. But we set out with a goal that were like, we bought these games, let's play them, right?
At least 12 should be from our backlog, right? At least once a month we
Yes.
should dive in there.
Yeah, I looked through my backlog last year whenever I was planning on doing a YouTube show that does with the kid. It hasn't really panned out in terms of time, and I have like 200 or 300 games that have just never ever been touched and seen the light of day. So we downloaded everything. We've been playing stuff so far this year. I've played Concrete Genie, Ghost of Tsushima. In March, I played. Oh man, my memory is already like gone. What did I play?
Played a lot.
That's the other problem with playing too many games.
Yeah.
But this month, what did you play for the great month of April?
I played, and I feel like almost you should go first, but there's going to be a big tonal shift, but there's some weird parallels.
There is going to be a tonal shift.
There's a tonal shift, so I guess I can go first if you want. We'll start it off. I played The Evil Within, which I will admit going in, Evil Within 2. I will admit going in, I knew about the first game, and by knew about, I mean that I saw it was on Game Pass and I knew it was a thing. I for some reason in my brain, I think because they came out around the same time, or I knew about them around the same time. When I heard the name Evil Within, I was thinking of Outlast, which is a horror game, but it's a different horror game. I booted the game up because I saw the artwork, whatever. I basically went in blind. I didn't know I was going in blind, but I went in blind playing The Evil Within 2. As a horror fan, as a big horror fan, there are things about this game that I like. As a gamer, there are things that I can nitpick the heck out of. But it's very inventive. I appreciate what it's doing. I've heard that this is a better game than the first one. I'll probably go back and play the first one. The premise here is essentially you have been hooked up to what this is referred to as the Spire. It's essentially the Matrix. You get hooked into it, except instead of being in the Matrix, you are in a collective consciousness. Everyone is experiencing and sharing and experiencing all within that world. So it's a world that is not only experienced by everyone who is connected to it, but it's also affected by those who are in it. So people who have got some, who are psychotic, or people who are, whatever, like anything that's in there can come out. And in this case, because I didn't play the first one, your character is in this game is going to rescue his daughter, who he thought was dead. His daughter was kidnapped and is in this machine, specifically because she is like a pure of mind and heart and all this stuff. Because if you put someone like that in the machine, then you're going to get this amazing stuff, this beautiful, pristine thing. And apparently, whatever else was in there, and I guess the person who created it, nothing good comes out of this. Apparently, this is the second time that your protagonist has gone in. I like I said, I like a lot of it. There's parts of it that, as a gamer, I'm like, that's crap. There were parts that I was getting hurt or not getting a chance to block or whatever, where I'm like, no, that's based on janky controls, not based on difficulty. I'm trying to flip the scene here, but for some reason it's stalled out on me. Some of it's very artful, though. Again, as a horror fan, I say that only because like other people are when I flip over to this, whenever it actually decides to cooperate, some of the things that show up in there, like it's artful, it's pretty, it's terrible, it's shoot, grab, yeah. So it's not flipping on me. Some of the things that were shown in there, like I said, are there's some beauty in it. Like you've only seen the first Saw movie, right? Not the others.
1 and 2.
Okay. Maybe I don't know if I'd compare it to 7. Some of the things that you see are like almost like someone, in their mind created whatever it is, right? So
yeah,
or maybe they killed someone in there. I don't know. But like there's bodies that are positioned in a very artful manner, where it's like, oh, these pieces of body look like it looks like angel wings, and this looks like this, and this, where it's like, that's sick and sadistic and macabre and disgusting, but I get it, and it's pretty in a sense, but it's very dark. There's a lot of that, and a lot of gore, like very graphic gore, which again I'm okay with, but it's not gonna be for everybody. Definitely not for
No,
everybody.
not for me.
Yeah.
You know, I watched you play about 10 minutes, and then I was like, you know, I'll see you later.
Yeah, I figured. I figured as soon as the kids showed up in there,
Yeah.
I was like, "Yep, you're going to be out at that point." I
Yep.
had no idea. Like again, I went in blind because if I'd known that, I'd have been like, "Hey, if I stream it, don't even watch." The and then that part, you're reliving a memory, or you're remembering.
Yeah.
Part of this also, it's. I feel like I haven't beaten the game, but knowing the premise, I feel like at the start of the game, I feel like I was already in there. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, this first scene, you're already in the machine, even though you're experiencing being told that you need to go in and then being brought into the machine. I'm like, about an hour in, I'm like, wait a minute, I bet that intro was me already. I was already in the, and that was a twist. That's probably going to be a twist on in the game that I figured out, but no big deal. I don't know if I'm probably continue it. I'm not gonna go beat it like right now, but I'll probably continue it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not for everybody. If you like horror, you'll probably enjoy it. Sorry, it finally responded. This is the intro scene that you saw, which is funny though, because you mentioned the Matrix characters. There's two guys at the bar wearing like black plain black suits, and as soon as I saw that, I was like, those guys look like something straight out of like X-Files, Men in Black. Like they don't look like either that, or it looked like some random game developer just said, I need two people here, put two stock characters here. They're part of this company that brings you in. So we called that. But I thought it was funny, you mentioned Matrix, had no idea, and then the premise of the game is very Matrix. So
I will say, if you are interested in it and you're listening to this live, so if you listen to this through tomorrow, you can still get it. It is on sale through tomorrow on PlayStation for $17.99.
Not bad.
A part of their sale going on.
So
just in case you're in
for $17, not bad. Not bad. If you like horror games, you'll probably like it. There's a lot of bad horror games. So yeah, I'd say if you like horror games, you'd probably like this. There's a lot of disturbing stuff in it, but at the same time, like that's what you're wanting from a horror game. You want something to freak you out. Should not have played this game, by the way. The wife is out this week. So it was me, the dogs. I turned off the lights. All I do is turn off the lights when I play games anyways. If I'm, turn off the lights, put on the game. I don't mind getting scared. And like 45 minutes in, the dogs start going nuts. I'm wearing headphones, so they're not reacting to the noise, and they're looking off like down the hall towards the bedroom. And I'm like,
nope, kill it with fire, bro.
So I had to pause the game for a second and be like, all right, hold on, turn on all the lights. And they stayed on at that point. I was like, I'm not going to do that again. Freak me out.
Nope.
Freak me out. But yeah, it's like I said, it's good. Not for everybody. But yeah, I recommend it, especially on sale. Totally recommend it. And your game, Complete Tonal Shift.
Yeah.
I
played some Song of the Deep. I bought this game literally when it was first released in 2016. Because it was developed by Insomniac, and so I like to buy all of Insomniac's games. So this was a complete shift from what they normally do. People who know Insomniac, they normally do games with like outrageous weapons and stuff like that, like your Ratchet and Clank. And Spider-Man's a little bit different, but a lot of their games involve just interesting gunplay and everything. Well, this one, this is where I think it was like this, like. One of like the executives at the company, like CFO, CCO, something like that, wanted a character that his daughter could look up to. So somebody that wasn't oversexed and all that stuff, but just wanted just kind of an awesome female character. And so he had this idea for this character. Marin is the girl's name. She's a 12-year-old girl who's looking for her father. She made a submarine so that she can go look for her lost father. It has I forget, is it, I'm trying to think of like which mythology. Irish. There we go. That's the word that I want. Marin, of course. Amazing. So it has a lot of inspirations from that. I don't know anything about Irish mythology, so I wouldn't have been able to be like, oh yeah, it's just not one of those common ones. Yeah. Like
Greek, like Norse,
like the Norse craze that's going on right now with your Valhallas and your God of Wars and so on. It's just not as big, but it's also a big change in how they make their games. So this was a small team game that made a Metroidvania, and Insomniac's never made a Metroidvania before, so this was really different for them. And then the other interesting tidbit is that it was published by GameStop. Back they had I forget the name of their division, but they had a division that it was like, I think, part of like GameStop trying to figure out like what else can they do for their relevancy and everything. And they're like, what if we tried publishing some games? And so GameStop published it. Didn't do extremely well. I don't know what kind of sales they were expecting. I think they sold like roughly like 100,000 copies of the game, which for a, like, if you're considering it, at the time they were an independent studio, but if you were considering that like an indie title because it was made by a super small team, that's probably decent. The gameplay is fine. If you're looking for something that is as tight as some of the other Metroidvanias that you can play, it's not as smooth as those. It's definitely got some clunk to it where you can tell that they were out of their wheelhouse. But it does have like a certain charm to it. The character is great. The fact that it's not necessarily just you think of like your normal Metroidvania where you're just straight shooting something all the time, like you have a gun, like you have it's like this claw on your submarine that you just throw at it, and you kind of swing, like you'll pick up objects and swing them at the enemies. It's little things like that are cute. I will say. I want to finish it because it's only supposed to be 7 or 8 hours. I played probably like the first couple hours of the game, and I haven't gone back to it just from a mood standpoint. I wasn't. It's just it's been a problem with all of my 12 for 12 games. Like even with Ghosts, I want to go back and play Ghost of Tsushima. I just wasn't into it at the time, and so I will have to do this one sooner than later if I'm going to do it. Otherwise, I'm probably never going to play it ever again. It's also not cheap right now. I bought it at launch. I think it's $15, which is, I think, the launch price. So if you have any interest in picking up a small Metroidvania, it does go on sale at some point. I would get it later. I want to finish it because it's Insomniac, and I like beating Insomniac games. But I'm glad that I at least tried it. I'm glad that to see studios do different things. That's something where we see it from Sony a lot right now, where they're having, I think they've hit that problem. They hit it with Days Gone, which we didn't talk about it, but there was like a news thing that came out about Days Gone. But like they're making a lot of the same games, a lot of third person open world type games, and Insomniac makes not necessarily open world, but I guess you could consider Ratchet kind of open world. That's just multiple worlds, but they made something different, and I applaud them trying to do that, even if it wasn't the most successful. At least they put themselves out there, and again, try to just do something different.
How was the story though? I mean, you said the gameplay was kind of janky. Was the story just kind of? I mean,
it's cute. It's good. There's a little bit of voice acting in there. It starts with like this exposition explaining how her father kind of went out and hasn't come back, and she's searching for him. It's nothing extremely deep, but there's a narrator that's kind of telling things from Marin's point of view, kind of like a journal.
Okay.
And so she's the one talking the whole time. And so for what it is, the fact that they have that in there and it's not just text, it at least helps. So whenever she comes across something new, the narrator starts talking a little bit.
That's
and
nice.
kind of explains like who that mythological creature is and things like that, which is nice because otherwise you're just like, oh hey.
I would have no idea. Well, I mean, even like even in God of War, I mean, some of the stuff there I was not as familiar with like at all. So it's nice to have some to bring in some context, especially if someone is like us who has no idea, or like you're talking about, like a child or anyone like that is playing. This may be their first taste of that mythology, so it's cool to get that context. Yeah, good stuff. Interesting. We both had games that were like, it's not bad, but I don't know, like.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're not in a mood. Sometimes that happens. So this month may have not been a banner month for our backlog, but that's all right. We got next month coming up. What do you have in your backlog? Do you know what your next game is?
I'm going Weeby for the month of May.
What?
I'm gonna play me some Trails of Cold Steel.
I don't know what that is.
Really?
No, I don't. I mean,
it is a RPG.
Okay. Well, I figured.
Trails of Cold Steel. I'm trying to think of like who.
You said Trails, I thought Tales, which I know it's not.
Oh yeah, no, it's not the Tales series. So it is. Trying to think of who develops the game. Neo Falcom, which isn't one that I'm actually familiar with, but it's a spin-off from a series called Trails in the Sky.
Okay. On your PS4 or?
This is PS4,
okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I think it's on Vita also, but that is what I'm going to be getting into. We're going to see. I haven't, honestly, since 13 Sentinels, I've had a real hard time just getting into story games, and so we're going to see. We're going to try again. We're just going to keep shooting that shot over and over again, and eventually some game will nab me, and we're going to see if it's this one. Although I'm about to buy, I don't know if you know the game Odin Sphere.
I do, yeah.
It's on sale right now with a spring sale for $17.99, which is the remake or like the remaster of the original PS2 game. And that's the same people who did 13 Sentinels. So I'm buying that now that that's on sale, which, by the way, people, psdeals.net. Good stuff. It's a good app.
Yeah, it's dangerous is what it is. This is like hurting my bank account.
True.
Between the games and the fridge going out, like it's like this week, but you gotta, being an adult means you gotta play like an adult. I've been playing horror games, but there's no segue on this though. I'm playing Outer Wilds next month.
Nice. Loved it.
I'm really excited to jump in on this. Which is why I like the backlog. We're forcing ourselves to play a game that we've been wanting to play. It's in our backlog. Just do it. And you're out there, you have a stack of games too. Virtual stack of games, whatever it is. It's your Steam library. However you like to play games. Steam library is just an ongoing joke.
No, I was laughing at. I think Robert was commenting on your Evil Within 2. I missed it, but he's like, F all that.
I missed the comment too. I'm assuming that's what he's talking about. It gets like I said, as a horror fan, I'm like, that's messed up. And honestly, like going through, if you my 12 for 12, I had to like alternate because I have a lot of horror games on my 12 for 12. Like I have Resident Evil 3. Okay, I jumped the gun on that. Dark Pictures, Man in the Dawn.
Oh, the dog going crazy.
The dog going crazy. Yep. Last of Us. I don't know if that's really horror in my opinion. Layers of Fear is on there, so. I'm like, let me alternate and add some other things. So Outer Wilds is this upcoming month, and
it's The Last of Us 2. I'm guessing.
Last of Us Part 2, 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I beat The Last of Us 1. Oh, I love Last of Us 1. I beat it twice. I beat it on PS3, and then I beat it on that remaster.
There we go.
Yeah,
okay.
Finally getting. Again, this is what the backlog is for. I picked up The Last of Us Part 2. Still have not played it. So go back, play those games that you already bought. You can still buy new games. We're not going to tell you not to buy new games, but if you bought the game and you want to play the game, just carve out some time on that schedule. Everybody's busy. Carve out that time and go into your backlog. Find something fun on your PC or wherever it is, and then come hang out with us. Talk about your backlog. Talk about those games, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.